Assalamu alaikum. 6 p.m. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Farzana Khan. First, the headlines. 8 people were killed in a suicide bomb attack on a church in Quetta today. President and Prime Minister condemning the Quetta blast have expressed their resolve to take the fight against terrorism to its logical end. Long-term CPEC plan is to be launched tomorrow. In Afghanistan, 11 policemen were killed by Taliban in Helmand province today. The UN Security Council is expected to vote next week on a draft resolution calling for nullifying any changes to Jerusalem's status. India won the second Asian Men's Netball Championship, beating Pakistan in a nail-biting finish in Kuala Lumpur today. And now the news in detail. 8 people were killed and 28 others, including 2 women, were wounded in a suicide bomb attack on a church in Quetta today. The injured have been shifted to hospitals where an emergency has been declared. Police sources told our Quetta correspondent Hussain Farooq that 7 of the injured are in a critical condition. IG Balochistan said one suicide bomber was killed by police on the gate of the church while the other blew himself inside the building. Law enforcement agencies have besieged the area. President Mamnoon Hussain and Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi have strongly condemned the terrorist attack on a church in Quetta. In their separate statements, they prayed for the departed souls and expressed sympathies with the bereaved families. The president said, "These cowardly attacks cannot shake our resolve to fight the menace of terrorism." Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi has said the whole nation stands united against terrorism and is determined to eradicate this menace from the country. Condemning the terrorist attack, he appreciated the timely and effective response by the security forces. He expressed sympathy with the bereaved families and deep grief and sorrow over the loss of precious lives in the attack. The Prime Minister also prayed for early recovery of the injured. Meanwhile, Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa, while condemning Quetta church attack targeting our brotherly Christian Pakistanis, has said that it is an attempt to cloud Christmas celebrations and create religious cleavages. He said effective response by law enforcement agencies is commendable and the nation stays united and steadfast to respond against such heinous attempts. Interior Minister Ehsan Iqbal has also condemned the terrorist attack. Foreign Office spokesperson Dr. Mohammad Faisal has also condemned the terrorist attack. In a tweet message, he said Pakistan's resolve against terrorism cannot be deterred by these cowardly acts of terrorism. Commander Southern Command Lieutenant General Asim Salim Bajwa, along with Inspector General Frontier Corps Balochistan Major General Nadeem Anjum, visited the civil hospital in Quetta today. They inquired about the health of the people injured in the suicide bomb attack on a church in Quetta today. They prayed for the early recovery of the injured. The government has decided to officially launch the long-term plan of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor tomorrow. The plan will expand the scope of cooperation in various new areas, including social sector, economic field, infrastructure, education and health. Minister for Planning and Development Ehsan Iqbal will be the chief guest of the ceremony to be held in Islamabad tomorrow. Officials from the federal and provincial governments, representatives of the business and industry, academia, media and other fraternities will attend the ceremony. The Joint Coordination Committee of the CPEC had formally approved the LTP at the 7th JCC meeting held in Islamabad last month. Minister for Energy Sardar Awais Ahmed Khan Lagari has directed to clear 800,000 pending applications for electricity connections before the 15th of next month. He was addressing a public gathering in District Ghaira Ghazi Khan today. Awais Lagari said now meter connection will be provided to the applicants within 15 days after submitting the application. He said work is also underway to provide prepaid connections to the customers. The Senate and National Assembly will resume their sessions at the Parliament House in Islamabad tomorrow afternoon. The upper house will meet at 3 p.m., while the lower house will start its session at 4 p.m. Both the houses will discuss matters of national and international importance besides legislative business. This is Radio Pakistan giving you the news. In occupied Kashmir, thousands of people participated today in the funeral prayers of a civilian martyred in firing by the Indian troops in Kupwara district. According to Kashmir Media Service, Asif Iqbal was shot dead by the Indian troops while he was shifting a patient to hospital last night. His body was brought to his ancestral Thandipura village of the district amid high-pitched anti-India and pro-freedom slogans. Police fired tear gas shells on the mourners, triggering clashes. Many people, including the member of the so-called Kashmir Assembly, Engineer Abdul Rashid, were arrested by the police. Meanwhile, complete shutdown was observed in Karalpura and adjoining areas of Kupwara district against the killing. The chairman Hurriyat Forum, Mirwais Umar Farooq, and other Hurriyat leaders in their separate statements said that Indian troops are working under a well-thought-out plan to kill innocent civilians in Kashmir. The All Parties Hurriyat Conference chairman, Saeed Ali Gilani, in a statement, slammed the puppet administration for imposing harsh restrictions in the territory. On the other hand, the International Federation of Journalists, in a report released in Brussels, said the Indian government is using advertisement as a tool to force media to toe official line in occupied Kashmir. The 50th death anniversary of renowned Kashmiri leader Raisul Ahrar Ghulam Abbas will be observed throughout Azad Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow with renewed pledge that Kashmiris will continue their struggle till the liberation movement is crowned with success. It will be a public holiday in Azad Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow. Various political, religious and social organizations have arranged different functions, including seminars, to mark the anniversary in a befitting manner. More details from our Muzaffarabad correspondent. In Afghanistan, 54 armed insurgents have been killed in the mopping-up operations by the Afghan National Army in various parts of the country. According to Afghan Defense Ministry Press Office, the operations supported by the air and artillery forces were carried out in Nangarhar, Kunnar, Ghazni, Paktika, Kandahar, Faryab and Saraipur provinces. Several heavy and light weapons of the insurgents were also seized by the forces. Meanwhile, a car bomb explosion struck a NATO-led coalition forces convoy in Kandahar city, the capital of southern province of Kandahar today. Meanwhile, 11 police personnel were killed when Taliban attacked police checkpoints in the southern Helmand province today. According to a spokesman of Governor Helmand province, Afghan forces eventually repelled the attack in the provincial capital Lashkargah. He said Taliban also suffered casualties. The United Nations Security Council is expected to vote early next week on a draft resolution calling for nullifying any changes to Jerusalem's status. The text is the latest international condemnation of U.S. policy change on the holy city. The Council is considering one-page Egyptian drafted resolution that calls upon all states to refrain from establishing diplomatic missions in Jerusalem. Netball. India won the second Asian Men's Netball Championship, beating Pakistan in a nail-biting finish of 51 to 50 points in Kuala Lumpur today. Pakistan secured silver medal in the tournament. And finally, the weather report. Mainly cold and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 24 hours. However, rain and thunderstorm with snowfall over the hills is expected in Makran and Quetta divisions. Very cold weather conditions are likely to prevail in Balochistan and northern parts of the country. Frost is expected at a few places in upper and central Punjab during night and morning. Foggy conditions are likely over plain areas of Punjab and upper Sindh during the morning hours. To end the news, the main points once again. 8 people were killed in a suicide bomb attack on a church in Quetta today. President and Prime Minister condemning the Quetta blast have expressed the resolve to take the fight against terrorism to its logical end. Long-term CPEC plan is to be launched tomorrow. In Afghanistan, 11 policemen were killed by Taliban in Helmand province today. The UN Security Council is expected to vote next week on a draft resolution calling for nullifying any changes to Jerusalem's status. India won the second Asian Men's Netball Championship, beating Pakistan in a nail-biting finish in Kuala Lumpur today. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.